With over 6 feet from the baseboard edge to the railway track, street scenes can be modelled with genuine depth, which is rare, even on a large layout. Built, like all the other structures from mounting card, Blair Atholl Station represents the building as it was in the 1970s, before a roof collapse caused the east wing, including the Duke's private waiting room, to be demolished. Authentic signs and posters were made photographically by standing a carefully calculated 18 steps back and photographing the originals with a 50mm standard lens, which then produces a 6x4 inch print. The signs will then be the correct size to just cut out and glue in place. A Highlands scene wouldn't be complete without one or two of the big snowplows, built on an old steam locomotive tender underframe and usually operated as a pair, sandwiched between locomotives. In 00, there's a brass kit from Hearst Models and a resin casting from Britannia Pacific Models, available through Silver Fox. A southbound timber train pulls into Blair Atholl, behind a Lima Class 37, where it will be held to await a northbound train. The perfect opportunity to climb aboard. Our cargo of OTA timber wagons are widely used in Scotland for transporting logs to pulp mills for paper making. Models are available from Cambrian plastic kits. The timber train must wait for the arrival of the northbound Clansman, which has a non-stop run through Blair Atholl. The layout still features semaphore signals, built from model signal engineering parts, and are fully operational. Once the express, headed by a Lima Class 47 in large logo blue and formed mainly of Mark II stock, has cleared the section, the turnout can be reversed, the signal cleared, and our timber train can be on its way across the River Tilt and south towards Pitlochry. Few people will ever have the privilege of seeing their models from this viewpoint, and it's a real tribute to the skills of Ian and John that everything looks so good. Blair Atholl signal box and level crossing is one area where Ian and John have used a little modeller's licence, leaving the 4 swing gates in place rather than installing the obligatory lifting barriers. The timber Highland Railway signal box is built in model form using plastic microstrip, glued to mounting card to represent the board and batten construction. English Electric Class 20s were widely used in Scotland and were particularly successful when coupled nose-to-nose in pairs. This gave drivers a better view of the track ahead than if the bonnet section was leading. Ian's Lima 20s are typical, and they are hauling a train of super detailed Hornby TTA wagons, with an empty fuel oil train returning from Inverness. Representing a more recent scene, this Lima Class 26 in Engineer's Dutch livery is leaving Blair Atholl Yard for the climb to Drummochter with a loaded ballast train. It hardly seems right to call this the back of the layout, but away from Blair Atholl, the scenery reflects the rural nature of the climb towards Drummochter. The railway, river and A9 road are all side by side. The scenery is particularly convincing, with the river again making use of real shingle and stones and the water made from casting resin. Where the A9 climbs into the Highland section, it's often subject to severe weather, and gates are provided to close the road off in emergencies. The upper section of the layout shows this convincing early autumn snowfall. Car's snow powder was used, carefully applied in a drifting fashion, over an area of some 24 square feet. Beneath the snow, and more distantly, are Car's tree leaves and woodland scenics materials, all fixed in place with 3M display mount aerosol glue. The road signs are authentic, having been made on computer by a friend of Ian's, who also happens to design the road signs for Perthshire County Council. Model trains in snow always make a stunning combination, providing it's as cleverly done as it is on Ian and John's superb layout.
One of the great joys of any model railway show is to compare lots of different techniques and styles all under the same roof and to discuss them with the experts. And of course, there's always a chance to stock up on models and kits and bits, not to mention buying model railway magazines and maybe the odd video too.
Model Rail Scotland 2002 featured over 90 stands, more than 30 of which were layouts, varying from Thomas the Tank Engine and Lego for the all-important youngsters to the likes of BLAIR ATHOLL, which walked away with 3 of the show's competition trophies, including Best Model Buildings and the Hornby Best of the Best Award. Features such as purpose-built lighting, a full-length fascia board and sophisticated control panels are all part of the careful presentation which makes BLAIR ATHOLL towards DRUMOCHTER a real showstopper. With Scotland